Salcedo Show axiom number 4 states that leftists project qualities onto others that they themselves have in abundance. An example, if the Democrats accuse you of pushing violence, it is they who are doing it. It's no mystery of who and what Democrats are. I say that one only need look. That's my message in today's preamble. In 2020, Mike Gonzalez of the Heritage Foundation observed that in the wake of President Trump's win, leftists and BLM and Antifa rampaged through the streets of America. Mike predicted it would get worse, and it did. In the name of social justice, which is the absence of justice, and with the full support of politicians like Kamala Harris, the violent and angry Marxists looted, burned, and beat their way through our once peaceful nation.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
The Democrats have long used a promotion of violence to threaten, intimidate, and coerce their political opponents. Here's Chuck Schumer calling for violence against 2 sitting Supreme Court justices by name.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
A left-wing assassin would be caught later trying to assassinate one of those justices after Benedict Arnold Democrats in government allowed illegal protests outside of justices' homes. And even in the wake of President Trump surviving an assassin's bullet, the violent and anti-American left wing continues to push political violence. Here's Kamala's partner in crime, Joe Biden, keeping up the Democrats' anti-freedom tradition of promoting violence to get their way.
Let me tell you what our Project 2025 is. Beat the hell out of them. I mean it.
Yeah, he means it. It goes beyond violence, though, kids. Democrats have tried to classify disagreeing with them as disinformation. They do this to quash free speech, a fundamental human right protected by the U.S. Constitution. But it appears that the Democrats actually love disinformation. Radio station is threatening to sue the Kamala's AWOL's campaign after they made up phony headlines and appeared to link those headlines to organizations that didn't write them. It bears pointing out that many left-wing narrative organizations are not suing, perfectly comfortable letting leftists put words in their mouths. Here's how the Harris mouthpiece defended their disinformation campaign in the finest tradition of Soviet apparatchiks or Joseph Goebbels.
In terms of, is this something that's normal? Is this something that campaigns have been using? How do you defend kind of the...
Yeah, well, this is part of paid advertising. I mean, if you are somebody who's reading a news outlet on your phone, you'll see embedded ads come up sometimes in those stories that, for on first glance, look like a story by the outlet you're reading. But if you don't, if you look at it more closely, it says sponsored content. I mean, this is something that the search engines do. It's part of the way they generate ad revenue. So there's nothing about it that is violates their terms or is in any way unethical. I mean, this is part of the way that paid advertising works.
Wow, there's nothing unethical about making it appear organizations said something they didn't really say, according to Democrats. And don't we have truth in advertising laws somewhere in this country? As stated, Democrats seem to support disinformation as long as they are the ones spreading the lies. Democrats claim they're the party of women, for example, but the left-wingers who run Disney's ESPN are just the latest example of why that is just another in a string of Democrat lies. Sam Ponder is the latest ESPN employee who has spoken out against males being allowed to play in women's sports to be shown the door over there. The equally lovely and talented Sage Steele was also forced to part ways with the woke sports network. But at the end of the day, folks, it is we, the people, who suffer under the Democrats' bloated, unaccountable, wasteful, and totalitarian government-centered policies. It doesn't matter if you're young or you're old or white or black, Hispanic, or your religion or sexual orientation. It's all inconsequential. All Democrat policies in the modern era lead to misery, slavery, and an ever-declining standard of living.
How hard has inflation hit you?
It hit me hard. It's hitting me hard.
What do you blame for it?
I blame the federal government at this point. If a working class mom who works as a paralegal cannot buy a $2 bell pepper because it's now $5, Imagine a mother living on food stamps. Imagine a mother who's making minimum wage trying to feed children. They're killing us without killing us. If you understand that. They're killing us without telling us they're killing us. They're hurting people in ways that they can't help themselves. It's either feed my child or how about feed my children and I don't eat, but I have to go work.
I'm 20 years old. Why is a one-bedroom apartment $600, $1,600? Rent prices is outrageous. And then these jobs, they're bare minimum jobs. Like, I'm supposed to be in customer service. Before I was a server, I was working at like fast food restaurants, and nothing against them, love it, but we need them jobs. But why are you yelling at me over a burger? So it's one of those type of things. It's like the work life, trying to balance out school, trying to balance out finding housing. It's just overhyped. Like, I really waited my whole life to grow up and do this.
Yeah, you waited your whole life to get rewarded with Democrats America. Folks, later in the show, we'll revisit a story about how Democrat and independent voters are absolutely clueless about Kamala Harris's policies. Why are they so ignorant? It's because the enemies of man who populate the left, both in and out of the press, they are dishonest. These people, people in general are more apt to believe lies. And the Democrats are using that. It's the very reason why America can no longer afford to have them in power.